this in-class exercise 8. And the first part of it, we're going to walk through this master Android master detail flow tutorial from Technotopia, and just basically go through that and work through that. But it's a nice tutorial. That won't take, that'll probably take us 15 minutes, I think. And then we'll spend another maybe half an hour doing some more things with the tutorial and setting some more things up there. So again, we're just going to walk through. You might want to bring this up and put it up in a window, and certainly there's some code here we'll be copying over and using. So first thing we need to do is create a new project. And give it some name. So this is in class 8 master detail website. So again, I'm just giving it some name here, and then I'm going to make sure we select the master detail template. So we want to use this template, the master detail template, as we go. And also here, this page where we talk about the object kind, you can look in the tutorial, and again, we're going to be monitoring websites, basically making a little bookmark app where you can have a set of websites kind of marked, and you can just jump to them quickly. So we're going to call our things website and websites. Android Studio has been updated a little bit since here. So we have we'll have website and websites, and then the title can just be websites also. It's nice to put in the names here, because then the names of your fragments and your class will match the ones in their code, which is really handy. So again, website and websites, just like they show in the tutorial here, website and websites. And then we can hit finish and wait for this to start up. So again, basically we're creating an app. If I scroll down at the end here, like in a tablet, they'll list a couple websites. In this case, they list 3. You click on one, and it opens up the website in this detailed view over here. On a phone or smaller screen, it would just, oops. On a smaller screen, it'll just show the detailed list first of the website names. You click on a website name, and then it'll open up the detailed view, and we'll see the actual website in that detailed view. So that's kind of what we're going for today. And again, we're just going to modify the master detailed flow for that. All right. So again, if you remember, we've got these, like if you look under the Java programs, the Java files, we've got the website list, which is the first view that lists the websites. And again, we have an activity and a fragment for that. And then we have a website detail, which lists the details. And in our case, they'll actually will display a website on it. And again, we have a fragment and an activity. Most of our work will be in the fragment classes, because the activities just contain the fragment. So once we have that set up, and it comes all set up in this template, we generally don't have to work much with the activities. The only time you do is sometimes if you're changing what information being passed from fragment to activity to fragment here. But we're just using, and generally in this model, we try to just pass a single number or a single string from one place to the other, some key to our data or our database that we're working with. Okay, let's go look at our tutorial now that we have this up. So what have we done? So we did our website, talks about all of our stuff here. So now we're going to start modifying the template. First, we're going to modify the data model, the dummy item that's out there, and we're going to put some new code. We're going to, for every website, we're going to store the ID, and this is the kind of the key that's passed from the detailed fragment or the list fragment to the detailed fragment to tell it which one to pop up and things like that. So we'll keep the ID there. We'll add the website name and the website URL. So I'm going to go into here. And if you remember, there's this dummy folder here and the dummy contents in that. And there's a class and then a subclass of this. So dummy content is the array list. It's both an array list and a map of our items. And then there's something called dummy items down here. And we're going to modify dummy items here. And for this time, we can probably just take this code here inside dummy items, the string, the website, and this, and just replace what's in here. I'm going to put it after here for a sec so we can just kind of compare. So originally we had an ID, a string, and a string content. And this we just said item 1, item 2. Now we're going to have an ID, a string for the website name, and a string for the website URL. So we're adding an extra string there. So our constructor here, before we just passed in the ID and the content. Now we're passing in the ID, the website name, and the website URL. And again, we're setting all the local variables equal to this. Now, I kind of like this code. I always struggle with when you're doing like a constructor and you're passing in things like an ID and you're using it, or a setter, and you're setting the ID variable. There's different ways of doing this. Sometimes I just say new ID here, and I'll say ID equals new ID. Sometimes I'll do capitalization. So if the member variable is capitalized one way, I'll have the parameter capitalized another way. This is a nice way. That's one thing that's nice to see about this code, where they call the parameters the exact same things as the variables in the method. So then they just have to say this.id equals ID, this.website name equals website name. So when they say this.id, they're talking about the ID variable declared in this class. But when they just say ID, they're talking about the ID parameter into this constructor. So it's just one way of organizing, whenever you're doing like a setter method or a constructor, we're passing in some variables and you're setting variables to those, and they almost always have the similar names. This is just one way of doing that. Does that make sense how that works? The this thought? Kelly's nodding right. Ah, makes sense. Good job. And then the toString method. This is what we're going to use to display something on the web, on the detailed list, and we're just going to display the website name. We're not going to use the URL here. Okay, so I'm going to delete the previous stuff here and just leave that stuff in here. So now, let's see. I'm going to go to now we have this static creation stuff up above where we created 3 dummy variables. and we provided the ID and just the item 1, item 2. We're going to have to change this because now our constructor is 3 things. So again, I'm going to grab this information here. Right now, we're going to leave it all static till we get this working. We'll go through this tutorial exactly as it is, but then our first job after we're done with this tutorial will be to take out all the static stuff. So again, I'm going to grab this static declaration where I call out these 3 variables, scroll up here, and again, they're highlighted as being red here because the constructor is no longer working. And I'm going to comment out those. So again, before we said static and we called the add item for the dummy item, and we added 3 dummy items. Again, now our dummy item constructor, we changed that just below to have the website name and the website URL, so we're going to have to change how we're calling this constructor here. Okay, so that was just a cut and paste. So now it's going to change our data model. We're going to come back here later on, again, as soon as we're done with the tutorial, and we're going to change the name. We're going to get rid of all this dummy wording here and change it. But we'll get to the tutorial first, and then we'll come back. Now, the next thing is in the detail view. In the detail view, we want to view a website. So when they click on one of these names, we're actually going to view the website here. So there's actually a web browser that you can put on your page to show a website. So that's what we're going to have to do. The detail view will just be a web browser. So what does it tell us to do here? Okay, so we want to find the fragment website detailed XML file and paste this stuff into it. So this web view, I'm going to paste that in. So again, change the detail pane. So it's, again, the website detail, the fragment, not the activity. The activity one just contains the fragment. So I'm going to go in here and find not activity, fragment. So I want to make sure I'm in the fragment website detail. The detailed view, so this is when I've found something in the list, clicked on it, and I open up the detailed view. We used to just put the name of the fragment here. And again, we need the fragment, not the activity. So if I look at the text, I don't even know if we've seen something like this before much. We usually have a linear list or some other grid view, some other thing here, and then we have text views in it. They just have one thing that takes up the whole page, and that's a text view. So again, because again, they just put the text. So when we did this before, it says this like item 1 or item 2 is the only thing that was displayed here. So we're just going to delete that and replace it with a web view. So I'm going to just delete this all and replace it with this web view. And the ID for this is website detail. And so we're going to have to make sure in our code, we used to, the old thing was called text view or item detail.
I was just curious, is there a reason why you moved the closing tag web view down?
No, I just think it looks better.
Okay.
And if you were trying to, parse this, I just then it's easier to see that this web view starts here, and then this is an end tag.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so no reason. So, okay, and again, the one thing is our new ID for this was website detail is our web view. Now, you could technically, well, I mean, I don't know how to drag things from the palette onto here when I don't have a layout. It doesn't seem to be rendering it right and drawing things, because it seemed like I could have just clicked on the text view and deleted it and grabbed this web view and dragged it onto here, but I couldn't get that to work in this design view. And again, in the tutorial, they don't tell you to do that either, so I don't think they could get it to work. So I would think maybe in Android Studio 1.02 or 1.2 or something, they might fix some of this design features. Okay, so we just pasted in our website, our web view here. Going back to the tutorial. So now we just have a web view here. So now we have to change our website detail fragment class and change the code in that. So I'm going to go into website detail fragment, and that actually shows that it has errors right now. So some of this I am grabbing, so this is my detail view, and I'm getting passed in the ID of the item that we clicked on from the list, and I'm grabbing that. So the onCreate actually is grabbing these arguments and from this bundle and grabbing the argument ID. So this is the 1, 2, 3, whatever item we clicked on. Then we're going to use the item map. I don't know if you remember the item map, but we have an item array and a hash map. The hash map says if I'm given a string for the key of the ID, it'll grab the content from that. So I'm actually using the hash map here and providing the ID. So none of this is actually changing. This all still works. So M item is the item I clicked on. It's a dummy content item that I clicked on. And if you remember correctly, we redefined the dummy content. It used to have a content variable, and now it has a website name and a website URL. So down here in the onCreate view, we find the website detail, and we have this content here. So we've got to change this so that we're putting the right the URL. We want the website URL to do there, and I don't think we can do a set text. Okay, so let's go to the tutorial. Here's the one thing to watch is if you're copying pasting this whole stuff, I wouldn't grab the package unless you use the exact same package they have. So if you're just grabbing the whole file and copying and pasting, watch the package, because your package is probably going to be different. So I usually just grab from the package on. But okay, at this point we need to modify website detail fragment. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff, and here's their onCreate view. I'm going to grab that onCreate view. And because you see there's some dots, they're skipping a bunch of code in here. So actually you can't just grab this whole thing or replace it because of these dots. So I'm just going to grab the onCreate view here and go into my code and find the onCreate view, which is right at the end, and paste it. And I'll show the two of them side by side so you can kind of see what they're doing. I'm trying to just get my line spacing to match a little better so you can kind of see how similar these are. Okay. So here's the old onCreate view. Here's the new onCreate view. We inflate the website detail, that fragment, so that's puts the fragment in there. That's fine. We check if M item is not null. That's it. They've clicked on an item, and this is the item we have. This is a dummy item now. And before we used to use the item content. Oops, I grabbed. I did that lesson. So this was the old view. I have to scroll down. This is what it's supposed to be. I have to grab this code. I just pasted in their code over this. Okay, so I grabbed they showed what it used to be. I'm going to scroll down and make sure you grab the, once this change has been made, so this is the new stuff. I've got to put that in here. I was wondering why it was exactly the same. So.